It is Michael Majors on your left, Brad Nelson on your right. Team Emerge against Bant Humans. These two guys both residing out of Roanoke, Virginia. They produce content together. They're good buddies, but only one can walk away a winner here, and we're going to find out who it's going to be momentarily. See Matthias Hunt, a careful observer there in the background, checking out the feature match area as we do begin things with a Vessel of Nascency.
And this might be part of the reason that Brad wanted to play a bit more of an aggressive take on a collected company strategy this weekend. With the prevalence of emerge decks and delirium strategies, the metagame has slowed down a little bit. People spend the first couple of turns kind of spinning their tires, getting their graveyard set up, and so decks that are a little bit on the aggressive side may be better now than they were a few weeks ago.
The Vessel will be activated here by Majors. He'll turn over a mountain, an island, another Vessel, and then a copy of Gather the Path. So he will get to select a creature, enchantment, land, or planeswalker from the cards he reveals. The rest do go into the graveyard.
And the Lamphole Pacifist also telling from Brad's deck selection here as well. Little less focused on trying to get the most synergistic or most powerful package of creatures in play, just trying to focus on beating people up.
Majors with a mountain, and the follow-up is a Nissa's Pilgrimage. So, time to go searching for some forests. That's one. The other one will go to the grip. No spell mastery here for Michael Majors. We head back over to Nelson. That's Athalia's Lieutenant. The Lamphole Pacifist now has 4 power, so it can freely attack. In Evolving Wild is the follow-up, and you can see an aggressive start here from Nelson.
And that meets my very, very low, very loose definition of a combo there.
Yes, but a combo nonetheless.
Right, Lamphole Pacifist plus a +1/+1 counter, that counts.
Correct. Back to Majors, we're going to go. You see Nelson shortcutting a little bit here, searching up a land with his Evolving Wilds. Doesn't want to waste any time. While Majors is taking his turn, number 32 on our Player of the Year leaderboard here on the SCG Tour. He'll start by playing an island. And now, it'll be another copy of Nissa's Pilgrimage. So Majors' deck is very interesting because he has Nissa's Pilgrimage in here. He's got quite a few spells. He can actually turn on Spell Mastery pretty well, which he's done here. And now he's got this kind of emerge package where you're going to find Wretched Gryff and Elder Deep Fiend and various numbers. And then he's also got a small Delirium package with Ishkana. And then he also has Emrakul as well. So his deck is doing a lot of different things.
And not surprising because there's going to be a lot of overlap with Spell Mastery and Delirium in terms of the types of cards you're looking to play. Good with spells and good with things that put cards in your graveyard. So that's a very natural deck building synergy.
We also can't forget that his deck does have Traverse the Uvenwald as far as Delirium cards are involved. And then Kozilek's Return, a card that he likes to just generally cast, but also wants in the graveyard because he can flash it back, for lack of a better term. So over to Nelson we go. Brad will play a Plains, and now it'll be a main phase copy of Collected Company. Top 6 here for Nelson. We'll see if he can find some humans to grow that Thalia's Lieutenant. He has found a Reflector Mage, and it looks like a Duskwatch Recruiter. And now here come the beatdowns. Looks like Majors is going to take 7. This is a Grapple with the Past. You have my Coast, Kozilek's Return, and I don't get a great look at the other one, unfortunately. It's a Shivan Reef. Take that back. Majors is going to return a basic island, it looks like. Major is fanning out his graveyard in a weird kind of way here.
But unlike Eternal formats, graveyard order does not matter, so you're free to do whatever you want here.
Here is Wretched Gryff. No emerge necessary. Just going to pay the full 7. Flashback the Kozilek's Return. Kill Brad Nelson's entire board, and he gets to draw a card. Not a bad little turn there for Michael Majors. This has also got a 3/4 in the battlefield. And now the White Orchid here from Nelson will allow him to search up a Plains. He'll actually go with the Canopy Vista, however. It enters the battlefield untapped because of all the basics that he does have. And now Nelson going to play a land, and he'll simply pass the turn back over to Majors. Majors will draw. It's a forest. And now it's a Primal Druid.
Well sized for the battle on the ground.
Absolutely is. Here comes the Wretched Gryff in the air for 3. Nelson's going to fall down to 17. Here's a Collected Company from Brad. He's taking a look at the top 6. We'll see if he can find 2 that he likes.
Nelson's still not out of this game, assuming Majors is on empty.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to assume. Majors got to see a lot of cards this game. He's just kind of spun his tires a little bit. Now the real cards are coming down. And I believe Michael does have a copy of Elder Deep Fiend in hand.
If that is the case, that is probably too much to overcome at this spot.
It will be difficult. Thalia's Lieutenant's going to come in. Got to pump up some creatures and pump itself up, given that that and the Lambhole Pacifist actually enter the battlefield at the same time off a collected company. So Nelson will draw. His deck does not have a lot of interaction. He has a collected company deck after all. You're going to find 4 copies of Dromoka's Command, 1 Ochitai's Command, and the rest of his deck are creatures, excuse me.
And from this point, Nelson kind of has to proceed like Majors has nothing in hand or close to it.
And it's almost forced that way, isn't it?
Well, his deck doesn't have a lot of play to it, as you mentioned.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of main phase creatures.
See which route Nelson wants to go here. I think he's under the belief that he has no good attacks at this stage. Now he's starting to lean forward a little bit. Yeah, I think he's read the situation relatively well. This is an Elder Deep Fiend. To emerge it, Majors are going to have to lose that Primal Druid. Well, I think he's okay with that.
Also a combo.
Yes. And again, the
by my extremely loose definition of that term.
Major's going to tap 4 permanents. Remember, this is the cast trigger. It doesn't have to resolve in order for this to happen with the Elder Deep Fiend. However, Nelson without any counter spells in his deck, so it is going to resolve. And he will be searching. Well, excuse me, he does have an Ochitai's Command, so there's no guarantee it will resolve. But Majors will be searching with the Primal Druid here momentarily, I believe. He'll tap down the Pacifist as well. And now Michael will search for the land from the Primal Druid. And there's the battlefield tapped. It's a basic island. Teamer Emerge doing Teamer Emerge things here, Patrick.
But you can see, you know, Majors was talking a little bit about just the complexity of this deck to play. There are a lot of moving parts and a lot of cards that can be played as flash effects or otherwise inside of combat and be impactful. It's not an easy deck to play.
Well, it looks like Nelson does have the Ochitai's Command. Now, does this make for a lethal attack? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 damage? Not quite, but very close.
Well, I think that Nelson passed the turn. He did not attack there.
Oh, no, he did attack.
Oh.
So what happened there is Majors played Elder Deep Fiend in the combat step.
Yep.
Tap down the Lambhole Pacifist and 3 of the mana.
Sure.
And Brad says, you know, I'll float. Ochitai's Command that, get back my Thalia's Lieutenant. I'm able to attack, get you down to 1. Majors now loses his Primal Druid, and also loses his Elder Deep Fiend. So now he's in some trouble here as he plays a land. Does he have a card like Emrakul?
He can also cast Elder Deep Fiend for full retail at this point,
Very
and
true.
that buys him some time as well. But his hand looks quite land heavy. And we're going to find out soon enough whether or not this Griff attacks.
Yes, we are. Uh-oh, he's doing a count here. Never a good feeling, I'd say. Aha, it does look as though Emrakul's in the hand. It is. The Promised End. Trigger, of course, will allow Michael Majors to take Brad Nelson's next turn.
I would imagine these 2 copies of Thalia's Lieutenant are not long for this world.
I would assume that you are correct. Nelson going to sacrifice his Evolving Wilds. Tireless Tracker the draw. And now the top card is a Thraben Inspector. What to do if you are Michael Majors?
Well, I don't think there's a ton to do here other than tap out Brad, have 2 of the creatures run in, and pass the turn back.
Okay.
I mean, the rest of the hand is just creatures that I don't even think Majors can afford to have them cast.
Knuckleheads. Eat the knuckleheads.
Yeah, I don't think there's another path for Majors to do much on this turn. This is not bad. Although noteworthy that he's 1 point short of lethal on the way back when he gets his next turn.
True. Now, was it worth it to kill that 1/1 Thalia's Lieutenant as opposed to maybe killing the Lambhole Pacifist that is transformed to the Butcher?
It's close to me. I do not see Brad being able to make an Alpha Strike on this board. Is he willing to trade off one for one here, one of his creatures for the Wretched Griff? I don't know. Because Majors might have to play the game for several more turns, he doesn't have lethal lined up, the Thalia's Lieutenant just might be the most threatening thing.
All right, it looks like a tracker is where Nelson's going to begin.
It's also worth noting that the Griff can only effectively block the 1/1 anyway. Majors definitely wants to get the largest Thalia's Lieutenant off the table, so there's no other second attacker for Majors to send in.
Very true. Very true. Nelson is going to play a tracker, get a clue, sacrifice the clue immediately. The follow-up. Looks like it might be that Raven Inspector that we know about.
But Nelson may still be able to win this game just by going wide here. Majors does not have a lethal attack coming back the next turn without help. And he's at 1 with 4v2. I mean, this is a path here. A lot of things can go wrong for Nelson, but assuming that Majors is out of gas, Nelson can have a lethal attack next turn.
Beatdowns. Block, block.
And this is a little bit of a hedge here from Nelson, this attack.
Well, this gets bad for Nelson.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. never mind.
Elder Deep Fiend's going to emerge out of Wretched Griff. Tap down the 2 creatures that can block the 2 lands. 13 plus 4? That's 17. That's exactly what Nelson's at, and that's exactly what Michael Majors wins game number 1 here over Brad Nelson. Teamer emerge up a game over Bant Humans.
Nelson did find a path that allowed him to win the game, assuming Majors had nothing. But instead of nothing, he had the best possible thing he could have.
Yes, he did.
So now on to game 2.
Well, to the sideboards is where we're going to go now. Then we'll take a look here at Brad Nelson's to start. He's got Knight of the White Orchid in Ochiai's Command, 3 Gideon Allies Zendikar, 2 Declaration in Stone, 2 Negate, 2 Nissa Vastwood Seer, 2 Tragic Arrogance, and 2 Heron's Grace Champion. That's a new one we don't see a lot of.
So I think that it's typical in these kind of matchups to want to go into more of a control deck, play a longer game with cards like Gideon Allies Zendikar. Because Major's deck is capable of overpowering Nelson on the battlefield, I don't think he really wants cards that are that slow. I would stick more to the Declaration in Stone, Negate type of stuff, try to play an efficient game, a beatdown game, but not try to sideboard into the biggest stuff. I think the 1 copy of Ojutai's Command is also fine to bring in.
Other side of things here for Michael Majors, 3 Noose Constrictor, 2 Evolutionary Leap, 2 Negate, 2 Kiora, Master of the Depths, 2 Tireless Tracker, an Ishkana, an Elder Deep Fiend, the 3rd one in the sideboard, a Lashweed Lurker, and then a Dragon Master Outcast.
This is a matchup where I think Majors is well served by just kind of getting a little bit lower to the ground, where he's going to fall behind is if he spends the first 2 or 3 turns not doing very much. So things that can play a low to the ground game and trade and block and all that kind of stuff, cards like Noose Constrictor and Tireless Tracker, the Ishkana as well, I would want that kind of stuff here.
Got a lot of nice options here in the sideboard.
I think Noose Constrictor is probably more for the blue-red decks. It's good against Fear Visions and just good against red removal in general. But I think in this matchup, Majors just kind of wants to be blocking a little bit more effectively early on in the game, and Noose Constrictor is serviceable in that role as well.
Well, those are the options there for each player. And we'll see how they like the sideboard, and game number 2 will be underway here in just a moment. Well, we will. What do we want to do? What do you want to do, Patrick?
Well, Brad Nelson's got the Star City Games t-shirt on, so that's a very natural way to dovetail into that promotion.
Let's do that. Let's talk about the StarCityGames.com t-shirt. The official one at Star City Games. That is 50% cotton, 50% polyester, screen printed in the United States. And look at Tom Ross.
Yep.
Look at it.
It's a t-shirt with a logo on it.
Hey, there it is.
Go.StarCityGames.com/apparel. You know, you can get your shirt. Comes in a variety of sizes, I assume.
No, it's not one size fits all, because that would be ridiculous.
Yeah, probably I'm guessing small to some number of X's all the way to top 2. Yep.
2, yeah.
Cotton poly blend, like all great t-shirts.
This is a hard sell from you here on the shirt.
We got a lot of cool stuff over at Star City Games. I'm not worried about separating people from their dollars long term.
Okay.
If you want the t-shirt, that's cool. We got them. Logo and all that. You want to go get something else? You get something else too.
Very well done.
Yeah,
very well done.
I'm not looking to I don't need to hard sell any of this stuff. it all will be fine.
It hard sells itself.
Right. That's a thing. And also just our authenticity and the way that we promote our products, I think, engenders some consumer confidence that's also valuable to us in the long term. Go.StarCityGames.com/apparel. Get a black shirt with a logo on it today.
Let's learn a little bit more about Michael Majors, shall we? Is that okay with you?
Go in.
25, Evans, Georgia is where he's from. Currently lives in Roanoke, Virginia, however, right now. 5 open top 8s with 1 win. He aspires, these are all true, by the way, he aspires to own his own Applebee's franchise. He's a big fan of Applebee's. He calls it Club Bees.
Yep.
For the record. He is an amateur kayak enthusiast. Hey, he's an avid reader.
Michael Majors and his hair have been on quite the tear the last couple of years.
They have. And his lack of a smile in a picture as well.
Right.
He consistently complains that his pictures are bad, and that's on him.
What do you mean?
He's just like, every time we try to update his photo, he's like, I'm not ready to take a photo. Today, for example, I think he looks great. His hair is in tip-top, and he's just like, I can't take a photo today. So that's the only one we have to work off of.
Has he clarified what he means by that when he says he can't?
He just says he's not ready. I haven't prepared myself for the photo. What does that mean? I don't know. I don't know how much better he's trying to look. He's got a nice flannel on. His hair, fantastic.
Little 5 o'clock shadow.
Yes. What more do you want?
A little bit of that southern ruggedness without being sloppy.
Exactly.
You know, it's well crafted.
Yet here we are. He just says he's not ready.
A little tuft up front, just for a little je ne sais quoi.
Yep. 1 button undone.
Yep.
I approve of that.
Just one.
Just one. Strategic.
The second button is a little sleazy even by New Jersey standards. But 1 button's good. That's the right number of buttons.
A vessel of nascency to start here for Majors. For Nelson, it'll be a Lamhold pacifist. He's got a fortified village in the Yavimaya coast, so colored mana does not appear to be a problem. For Majors, it's an island, it's a primal druid. He'll kick the turn back over to Brad. Brad will draw a card. Looks like he picked up a copy of Thalia's Lieutenant. Island is the land. The follow-up is a Reflector Mage. See you later, primal druid. No attacks, of course. No 4-power creature on the board for Nelson, so we head back over to Michael Majors.
Like the mana efficiency there from Brad. Also hoping that Majors just doesn't have a follow-up play because of the Reflector Mage. Then the pacifist flips. He's ready to go.
Yep. Realistically, I don't think Reflector Mage is going to do a ton in this matchup. So I think that's a pretty good spot to get it out there. It's here to traverse the Uvenwald.
When I've watched the more aggressive takes on Bant lose matchups like this, it is often at the end of the game there are some Reflector Mages in their hand. So I think if you just get to cast it early in a reasonable spot, like Nelson just did, you should take it. It's not going to get a whole lot better than that.
It's a Thalia's Lieutenant here for Nelson. The creatures will grow. The beatdowns will begin. Majors will take 7. He'll crack the Vessel. Emrakul, Wretched Griff, Elder Deep Fiend, and Grapple with the Past.
Pretty painful here. I think Major's just on the hunt for mana at this point.
That's what it seems like.
And we're kind of a ways away from all of those creatures being options.
Oh, yes. Powerful creatures, absolutely. We saw that last game. Right now, not so much. A Wretched Griff is what Majors will take, the cheapest of the 3 creatures. As they all head into the graveyard. Majors will draw. Does he have land at number 4? I know he's got a Pilgrim's Eye over there, but Pilgrim's Eye is nothing more than a speed bump right now.
Yep, and Brad getting paid off in this matchup right now for the way in which this deck is constructed. Majors here fumbling around a little bit. Not that he's had a bad draw, but as this deck often is doing, the first couple of turns have just been set up. And Brad's draw a little bit more relentless, a little bit more aggressive than we typically see out of the more standard builds of collected company strategies.
It's a Pilgrim's Eye. There will be a trigger. Majors will also play as Dragon Master Outcast, which means he's searching for a mountain. Then Dragon Master Outcast out of the sideboard.
Yeah, 1 copy out of the sideboard. I'm assuming just for matchups like this where the opponent's a little light on removal spells.
I think you can almost expect the opponent to board out. Dromoka's Command doesn't appear to do very much in this
First
matchup.
order of business, yep. So right now, though, Major's a little bit of ways from it, and maybe on chump blocking detail pretty soon.
There's a 3-man Inspector. Thalia's Lieutenant real big. And here they come. These creatures, as I said, nothing more than a speed bump. Pilgrim's Eye, what's going to block? Major's clearly valuing the Dragon Master Outcast pretty highly.
And especially in comparison to the Pilgrim's Eye, which is a much better route to enable an emerge play. So Major's must be planning on stabilizing the game here with Dragon Master Outcast. I don't see how he's going to get that amount of time. Even if he plays a ramp spell this turn, he's dead on the table.
Yeah. I mean, one could argue that he does want an artifact in the graveyard for Emrakul, but again, I don't know if we're ever going to get to that either.
Well, the Emrakul's in the graveyard too.
Yeah.
I mean, he's got 3 copies, I suppose, but even still, Emrakul's not a route to stabilize this game right away anyway. It's basically 1 removal spell and then 1 blocker, and Nelson's going very wide right now.
Major's doing the finger taps. That means he's doing some math. Trying to figure out if there's a way for him to get out of this situation, of which I'm not sure. Brad's deck is somewhat relentless. Primal Druid. Primal Druid. All right, a lot of blockers. Now remember, those Primal Druids die, he gets lands from them.
Yep.
Which will allow him to ramp into something that might be useful.
But can he survive this turn without committing the Dragon Master Outcast to a block? I don't think so.
He could fall down.
He's at 7.
He could fall down to 1. Nope, never mind. Take it back.
It's Reflector Mage, you know, there's 3/3/1
Yep.
has to come through in some way,
Yep.
and Majors is at 7. And if he has to commit the Dragon Master Outcast to a block, then he's kind of back to square 1 here.
Nelson surveying the board. It's a forest. Another clue on the way. He's got 3 of them now. Kind of a shoulder shrug and, all right, let's go.
Yep. I think Brad's saying the same thing that I just described, that there's no way for Majors to get out of this turn without having to block with the Dragon Master Outcast. At that point, he cares a lot less about these Primal Druids dying inside of combat. You know, Majors can still maybe cobble together a pretty crazy line. This deck is capable of it, but as long as the Dragon Master Outcast is off the battlefield, he doesn't have to care about the Primal Druids dying as a consequence.
There'll be 2 triggers here for Majors. He's going to search up 2 lands. Of course, he's going to take a healthy amount of damage. He's going to fall down to 3. Curious to see if Nelson's going to commit anything else to the board here. Seems to be in relatively good shape. And there is no Kozilek's Return in the graveyard here for Michael just yet. Majors will draw. I believe Wretched Griff is what he's found. Where will he start? Traverse the Overwall. I have a feeling he has Delirium, and he's going to go for Ishkanah.
Yep, which is another speed bump, essentially.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything is lethal besides the 3-bit Inspector.
Nelson will play a Collected Company on the end step.
Yeah.
Majors needs the old whiff here.
Yeah, basically anything gets him over the top.
Yeah. He didn't get the whiff. He got Reflector Mage and Thalia's Lieutenant.
Well, the Reflector Mage is standard operating procedure. That's there 100% of the time.
That's correct.
The Thalia's Lieutenant's a nice little bonus.
Yes.
He didn't need all of it, but it's always there, so why not take it?
Absolutely. Brad Nelson going to win game number 2 here over Michael Majors. Bant Humans, Teamer Emerge, getting ready for game number 3.
And that was, I think, the type of draw where Majors might have had the time and breathing space to stabilize against a more classic build of Bant Collected Company, but Brad getting off to an aggressive start and continuing to leverage it, push it forward, that was enough to get game number 2.
We're talking SCG newsletter now, my friend. It's your source for Magic the Gathering news. You can sign up for free at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter, and here's all the info.
Well, it's all the going-ons with Star City Game, including the latest information on the SCG Tour with a selected SCG Tour match of the week, exclusive deck lists and advice from some of your favorite columnists, catching up on all the event results, exclusive cardboard crack comic, and again, as Cedric mentioned, signing up is free over at go.starcitygames.com/newsletter.
Oh, Brad Nelson. Just another deep run for him. Another tournament that involves standard, so you know he's going to do well. He's playing Bant Humans, one of the very few, but he feels like he's either 2 weeks ahead, or 2 weeks behind, or 1 week ahead. I think he might be 1 week ahead. We'll see how this third game does shake out. He's 30 years old, currently residing in Roanoke, Virginia, with 8 open top 8s, 1 victory we saw in Baltimore a couple years ago, 2 invitational top 8s with an invitational win in Indianapolis a couple years ago. That's why you can get those Brad Nelson GOAT tokens for Trading Post. I played golf throughout high school, was once a scratch golfer, an avid StarCraft 2 fan, and he was the 2014 StarCityGames.com Players Championship winner.
I know of no player who cares less about the strategy of a deck or how it plays than Brad. Brad just plays what he thinks is the best. I've never heard him say, I just like this deck, or I just like this card, or whatever.
I haven't heard it either.
Just puts in a lot of work, tries to get the metagame right. Remains to be seen if he's done it this weekend, but at least in Standard, so far untouched, 4-0.
I think he's happy so far with how things have gone. It's an aggressive approach to a collected company deck. No spell quellers here. He's got a lot of humans and the ability to really put together some real beatdowns.
Humans among Magic's least resonant tribes.
They're not the most flashy.
No, it's, I play, fantasy games to, dragons and angels and vampires and all that. Just humans.
Well, I'll say.
Humans.
I'll say in the fantasy games that I've played, so StarCraft, I'm Terran.
Okay.
In Warcraft, I'm humans.
Yep.
Yeah, so I guess I'm kind of lame.
Well, there's something about having an emotional connection to your avatar. But I brought this up before in World of Warcraft. Like, the human warrior doesn't make any sense to me because you can go out right now and just do that in real life.
You can just be
no magical powers.
Yeah.
Just put on a suit of armor and grab a sword and start run out of your apartment and start getting into some trouble.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. There's no one that can stop you.
With law enforcement eventually.
Oh, sure.
But at first,
depends on how skilled you are.
So the human warrior never made sense to me because I want at least a little bit of a fantasy element to it.
Both players are going to take a mulligan to at least 6 cards. So what are you suggesting, perhaps? Maybe a human mage?
Human mage. I was often a human mage in World of Warcraft.
Okay. Sometimes people just want to give beatdowns with swords, man. I'd like to learn a little archery.
That's bow and arrow.
Yeah.
I did that when I was a kid. My dad's very into outdoor sports, and hunter and fisher and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He got an archery set. My dad quickly realized that neither me nor my younger brother had any sort of aptitude for this sort of stuff.
Oh, no chops.
And it was potentially a source of embarrassment for the extended family.
Okay.
So the archery set was quickly thrown in the dumpster. But I did have a couple years around. And also, he just put us out there with a bow and arrow and no instructions, like we were just intuitively going to know, like we had some Huckleberry Finn childhood and we were just going to figure out,
Well, I just want you to learn. Just, a little free form and see if you can figure it out.
But it's not like a skill that's practical enough that I'm going to go and work on in my spare time.
Sure. Both players look like they're going to keep their 6. Scrying both to the bottom. We're underway in game number 3 as a forest is where Michael Majors will begin things.
I don't need to kill a deer to eat. That's never going to happen again in my life.
We hope.
Yeah. And if it does come to that, either my life or where society is at has gone off the rails by such an extent that my archery skills would not save me. Even if I did cultivate them.
But you could be the best archer in the world.
Yeah, that'd be cool once every 4 years.
That could be you.
That'd be pretty sweet during the Olympics.
Yeah.
Then how would I fill out the rest of my days?
Just keep shooting.
Just going outside and shooting a bow at things?
Just keep practicing.
I don't know. I'd rather be here.
Looks like Michael is going to grapple with the past. Vessel Nascency, a forest, and Kozilek's Return, right where it belongs, in the graveyard for Michael Majors. He gets that forest back.
And Kozilek's Return in the graveyard is perfect for Majors in this matchup. Nelson can outsize his threats. That the upfront value on Kozilek's Return doesn't really work, but it is hard for Nelson to win the game before Majors to start able to emerge some of his large threats into play, and a flashback Kozilek's Return will catch almost everything.
Yeah, and Jamoko's command doesn't stop it.
Yep.
None of that stuff works, so it's just, hey, Kozilek's Return coming from the graveyard dealing 5, can't stop it, and it's very good against these human strategies. Now the White Orchid's going to search up a Canopy Vista, going to give Brad some green mana. Now he's got blue mana thanks to Prairie Stream, and we're heading back Michael Majors' way. I got Mycos just passing of the turn. Is all Majors has for his 4th turn of the game. So let's go back to Brad Nelson. He'll draw a card. Reflector Mage in hand. Coming across for 2 first strike damage with the Knight. Majors will fall down to 18. The follow-up here for Nelson. It's a Tireless Tracker. That's a clue. And Nelson is going to sacrifice that clue right now, put a counter on the tracker. Shields are down here for Brad. We'll see if Majors can take advantage. Right now, he'll just grapple with the past.
And this is potentially a route here for Nelson, is trying to get that Tireless Tracker up outside of Kozilek's Return range.
Majors doesn't get to return anything.
Womp
Some cards go to the graveyard.
Have not seen that before. That's
No,
first.
Not for me.
Maybe on turn 2 you see that sometimes, but the turn 4 grapple usually pretty safe.
It's the whammy. It's just a mountain here for Majors. He'll pass the turn back. Nelson will draw a card. He will play a land, get a clue, little shortcutting there, but Tracker is now a 5/4. He'll turn these creatures sideways. Major's going to fall down to 11. And now, ooh, a Gideon.
I was not sure if this card was going to come in, but this is a great spot for it. With Majors having no board and Nelson trying to give himself some leeway around a flashback Kozilek's return, Gideon's great for both spots.
Well, it's a shrine here from Michael, and all it is just a passing of the turn, so you got to wonder what the heck's going on over there. Maybe he's just drawing a lot of lands, not too sure.
His deck's got a lot of 7 and 8 man spells in it, so I got to guess.
He can't threaten a card like Elder Deep Fiend right now. Nelson is going to fire up Gideon. He's going to turn everything sideways, and is this just it? It actually is just it. Majors has nothing. He's got Traverse of Wall 3 lands, and he shows his hand. Brad Nelson going to win this match over Michael Majors. 2-1. Bet Humans will take down Teamer Emerge, and for Brad Nelson and his PCQ, as he so eloquently put it, he's up to 11-2. Michael Majors will fall down to 10-3, but both very live for top 8 contention.
And still untouched in the standard portion here, now 5-0, with a deck that I don't think anyone would have really talking about coming into the tournament, but Brad always very sensitive to the specific